Buying or selling real estate can be stressful. After all, it's not any old house we're talking about, it's your home. So when it's time to buy or sell, you want to make sure your search is in capable hands. That's why we turn to Angie Cole and the team at A. Cole Realty. You've seen Angie featured on HGTV's House Hunters. Realtor magazine named her one of the top realtors in the country. And just ask us, the numbers back her up. So listen up as we cover all the ins and outs of buying and selling a home here in the Triangle. It's time for the Savvy Realtor with Angie Cole.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Savvy Realtor. I'm Walter Storholt alongside Angie Cole. She is the owner and broker in charge of A. Cole Realty here in the Triangle. And on this show, we're going to help you learn the ins and outs when it comes to buying or selling a home in the Triangle. If you want to find out more information about Angie, I invite you to go online. Check her out at acolerealty.com. That's acolerealty.com. Angie has been voted as the #1 real estate agent in Raleigh by Midtown Magazine and #1 in Wake County by the Indy Weekly. Angie and her team helped over 200 families last year buy or sell a home, and they're helping a lot of people here in 2018 as well. You can check her out on Zillow.com. She has more than 170 5-star agent reviews, and she's also been featured in HGTV's House Hunters in the past as well. Angie, thanks for being here this week. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
Glad to hear that. And are you kind of, we're post-summer now, so you're kind of like back into the swing of things and ready for like the busier fall season?
Yeah, you say post-summer, but we went to the football game this past weekend.
Oh, yeah.
We about died.
Yeah.
I've never, in all the years I've been going, I don't think I've ever been to such a hot game
That's
in
why
all my
I
life.
always skip those first couple of football games, because they're just brutal.
Yeah, and we're state fans. Get packed. And that doesn't keep anyone from calling me.
That's okay. We're on the Tar Heel side of things, and
right.
we have a little bit of Duke fandom as well in the household.
I guess we can help out whatever fan you might be.
We kind of have all three toes in the water here.
Right. But yeah, most of our home games are in September, which I'm like, oh my goodness, please let it cool down, because it was absolutely miserable out there this past weekend. But anyways, we are excited about, entering into kind of the cooler months, and we typically see right after Labor Day that, traffic as far as on our listings, and then just a lot more buyers in the market. Everyone just kind of is, in the works again. And normally that's because, kids are back in school now,
right.
Vacations are over. So we see the real estate market typically start to pick back up.
Yeah. I saw an article that said something about our brain power is highest during the year.
Wow.
In this transition as you get into the fall period of time, for whatever reason.
Interesting.
Brain power is highest.
I wonder if it's maybe just the changes of colors. It gets your
Could be. Or you just have so much going on, it like forces you to focus more, maybe? That's what I would think.
Maybe it's the pumpkin spice lattes that come out.
Hey,
that
there you
could
go.
Make you real
brain power.
Smart. I don't know.
We never knew pumpkin made you smart.
Time to celebrate. It's the A. Cole Realty Rundown.
This is where we see how many closings A. Cole Realty and team had in the past week and celebrate those buyers and sellers. Angie, how many are we celebrating this week?
So we are celebrating 5 closings.
All right.
We had 4 buyers and 1 seller. First of all, we had Tom and Liz, who purchased a home in Chapel Hill, which was a new build, and they were downsizing. A lot of times, we find that we work with first-time home buyers or move-up buyers, but there's also that, large generation that is looking to downsize.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to downsize, let us know. We then have Alec, Jesse, and Dan, who ended up buying a home in Raleigh as an investment. So 3 guys came together to buy their first investment property, and I see that there's going to be many more of those purchases in the future.
Cool.
Then we have Greg, who purchased his first home in Gardner. We then have Sharon and Gaith, who they purchased a home in Fuquay, but they actually purchased the home for their parents. So, they purchased a home for their parents who need more of the one-floor living, the ranch-style living, and so they purchased a great home in Fuquay for them. And then we have Roberto actually lives in Canada. He's one of our clients who is an investor.
Cool.
We helped him with buying a home, and then we helped him, and along with, of course, not myself, but contractors, along with their help, to flip the home, to renovate it, and we relisted the home, and now we have sold the home. Wow. So congrats to our seller Roberto for purchasing and closing on his first investment working with our team.
Very cool. Congratulations to all 5 of those buyers and sellers. Congratulations on your new homes, or to be getting rid of one of those homes as well. That's fantastic. We will celebrate that this week with 5, and if you have dogs nearby, cover their ears. I always, when this is on a TV, commercial or something like that, always causes the dogs to go crazy. We'll celebrate this with 5 doorbell rings. Always fun to celebrate that. Hopefully you got to your dog's ears fast enough. Do your dogs always go crazy, Angie, when the doorbell? It's only certain ones, though. Like, there are some where we'll look at Dakota thinking he's going to go crazy, and he's like totally unfazed by it.
Wait a minute,
then there'll be another.
Ringing a doorbell or watching it on TV?
Like on TV.
Oh, yeah.
TV, yeah.
Not always, but I a lot of times when a doorbell is like ringing on the TV.
Right.
Our dog will freak out. I mean, she's one of those yappy, annoying. We love her, Izzy, but she can yap away when the doorbell is ringing. So.
I've just noticed it's only certain ones.
That's funny.
Which is really funny. So if it's a little bit different tone,
yeah,
he won't. But if it sounds like the home that we're in, if it sounds like that doorbell, he'll go nuts.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Dogs are a hoot.
There you go. Well, if you want to celebrate a closing or listing your home and selling it off, or buying a new home with the A. Cole Realty team, you can get the conversation started with them. Call or text Angie directly at 919-538-6477 to start that dialogue about buying or selling your home here in the Triangle. 919-538-6477 is that number. As you heard, Angie and the team, they serve not only Raleigh, but all the surrounding communities as well. Durham, Chapel Hill, down to the south, the north, the east, anywhere within really an hour of Raleigh, Angie and her team can serve. 919-538-6477, again, is that number to call or text. Well, Angie, let's kick off this week's program with a great question here from Pat in Clayton. Pat says, we want to sell our home soon. All our neighbors have sold for about $300,000, but our lot is about a half acre smaller than the rest of our neighbors. How much less do you think we'd get for our home if all else was even?
You'll be surprised, Pat. You actually will not get that much less just because you have maybe half of an acre smaller than your neighbors. We tend to see that whenever we have a lot and there's a home on it, the value of the land, we just don't get as much value for it because it's kind of all-inclusive, where if we were just selling one lot compared to another lot, only the lots, yes, I would say, maybe not 50% off the value because you have half of the acre. But, when there's a home sitting on a lot, it could just be, a couple $1,000s difference. It's really not a huge difference from one home being sold versus the other when there's a little bit less acreage. Now, if you're looking at the difference of a quarter of an acre versus, 4 acres in the same neighborhood, I could see there would be a much bigger difference with sales price. But just a half of the acre, I wouldn't see that you would have, that much of a variance between the two home sales.
Would location, like if you're closer to downtown Raleigh, that half acre disparity becomes a lot more valuable versus a half acre difference in, northern Durham County or something like that?
Yes. Okay. And and when answering Pat's question, that was based on being within the same neighborhood. But anytime you compare, one lot or, location versus another, being closer, like you mentioned, to a downtown Raleigh or closer to the city, typically the value of the land will go up and go up a lot. So, comparing a quarter of an acre in Clayton versus a quarter of an acre in Raleigh, you will have a much bigger difference on the value of the land. And you can even see that by going with Clayton and, either Clayton or Raleigh, go to Johnson County or go to, Wake Gov, you can see what the tax value would be. Now, tax value does not tell us what the land will sell for, but there typically is, some type of correlation between tax value and sales price. Okay,
gotcha. A quick follow-up question to that. The type of available space. So let's say it's a really wooded lot that's bigger compared to a lot that is smaller but has like a really nice yard and play space and more open air and sunshine than like a really wooded lot.
Yeah. What we tend to see, a lot of that can be preference. Because
Okay.
first of all, one person might like more of an openness to have a play set, where another person might prefer the wooded lot. Where we tend to see a difference in price point will be the usage of the land. Meaning, there could be 5 acres where all is usable land, where we could have another lot that's 5 acres and maybe only an acre of it's actual usable, where the rest of it maybe falls into a floodplain or more of, just like a.
I have a friend who it's that same situation you're describing. 5 acres, but like 2.5 of it's in a ravine, and it's good for buffer, but like you could never do anything with it.
Right. I met a client in Durham, and they had 30 acres of land, but most of that acreage was just hardwoods that could never be built on. So the land was only good for tearing down the trees, if that's what someone preferred to do, but it could never actually be built on because it wasn't soluble. It couldn't perk for like a septic system, so a house could then go on the land. So the value of that land is way less versus land that actually can perk to put a home on it.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, Pat, it sounds like you might be thinking about selling your home in your neighborhood. And in Clayton, the homes in the $300,000 price point, I'm still seeing that those are moving fairly quick because we are in such a strong seller's market. So if you want to get an idea of what your home would sell for in today's market, it's as easy as texting the word listing to the phone number 555-888. So on your smartphone, you will text the word listing to the phone number 555-888. And then from there, we will send you back a text with a link. Make sure you click the link, and then from there, input your address so we can then send you a value for your home. So once again, if you're thinking about selling your home in today's market, whether you're in Clayton or any of the Triangle and surrounding areas, just text the word listing to the phone number 555-888 to get an idea of where we could list your home for in today's market.
So many sellers have taken that first step. It really is a great way to kick off the process because it starts to let you know, okay, what would be possible? What's the ballpark of where we might want to list this home? And that value may change once you get further into the process. You might say, well, actually, let's list a little bit higher. In fact, that's what we were doing with my home, selling with the A. Cole Realty team. Very similar situation. We had kind of that initial estimate, but after meeting, talking, also a month passes before, maybe you're actually going to listing, things changed, and we said, okay, let's actually list higher than that. But it's a great way to get the ball rolling and start the process to see where you might be able to list your home and what kind of value it might have. You can just text the word listing to 555-888 to unlock that home value. All you have to do is text the word listing to 555-888. Stay right with us. We'll answer some more of your questions coming up on today's show. This is the Savvy Realtor with Angie Cole.
Get answers to your home inspection questions. This is Ask the Inspector with Judson Root of Garnet & Gray Inspection Services.
It's time to Ask the Inspector, and we're with Judson Root of Garnet & Gray Inspection Services. Taylor in Durham has our question this week. Taylor says, does the home inspector focus at all on things around the house, the rest of the property, or do they just focus on the physical house? What about detached sheds, barns, decks, the yard, etc.?
Taylor, this is a great question, and this is one of the things that I explain to buyers when we review the inspection. And what's important for buyers to understand is that this is not necessarily a cosmetic inspection. What we're looking for is defects in the home and defects that will affect the value of the home and also the livability of the home going forward. As far as other items that would be covered in the inspection report, the home inspector in the state of North Carolina is licensed to inspect the home and what effect the conditions will have on the home going forward. So if you're asking whether or not the fence is going to be in the report, in most cases, no, because the inspector has no knowledge of whether the fence is on your property or not, or if the shed is on your property or not. In most cases, unless it's specific up front, we're looking specifically at the home.
So maybe a shed that's kind of on the back of the property, that might not get thrown into the list because you can't really verify if it's there. But if you know it's on the property and it's like a detached garage with maybe a living suite above it, does that just get included into the inspection report, or does that fall under separate rules as well?
Sure. Detached garages, guest houses, mother-in-law suites, those are all things that Angie's team lets me know up front whether or not are going to be on the property so that I can also add those to the inspection.
What about things like, hey, it looks like when it rains heavily, we can tell that a lot of water is getting, kind of pushed up against the side of the house or funneled in this direction, or you don't have enough of a spillway to get the water away from the home. Is that where you might notice some things that aren't necessarily the structure of the home, but might threaten the integrity of the home?
Sure. The grading and the vegetation of the home are included in the home inspection. What we were talking about is specifically to additional structures or accessory structures on the property. So a guest house or a mother-in-law suite or a detached garage, those are things that can be in the inspection report. The grading around the entire property is also part of the inspection report. But the items that are not going to be included that are seen and visible on the property, we'll let you know during the course of the inspection that they're not going to be included.
Hey, you might want to hire a surveyor to look at the fence and that kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
All right, one last one for you, since we're on this train of questions about the things that are included, aren't included in a report. Let's say there's a tree that's hanging over top of the home that you view as sort of being a threatening tree. Is that something that would be in an inspection report as well?
Absolutely. The tree is posing a threat on the structure, and my interest as the home inspector is the structure itself. Although I'm not an arborist, I can make a recommendation for an arborist to look further into the tree to make sure that the property is safe going forward.
But that's all part of the inspection process, looking for any outside threats that might impact the home.
Exactly.
As well as the inside threats.
Yeah, it's easy to see that the home inspection is one of the most important parts of the home buying process. You want to make sure that it's done right, and so we'd like to offer you a free guide that answers some of the most commonly asked questions about home inspections, so you can make the right choices as you get ready to buy your next home. If you'd like to get a copy of the guide, just text the word INSPECT to 555-888. We'll text you right back with a link to click on and view the home inspection guide. You can even download it right to your phone. So just text the word INSPECT to the number 555-888. One more time, get your home inspection questions and answer guide by texting INSPECT to 555-888.
Let's shine a little light on some of the Triangle's best areas right here on the Neighborhood Spotlight.
It's time to see what's happening in some of the nooks and crannies of the Triangle in the Neighborhood Spotlight, where we get to learn about maybe some areas that we haven't heard about before. Angie Cole of A. Cole Realty here in the Triangle, the team that has helped more than 200 families last year buy or sell a home in the area, and this year has been voted 2018's #1 real estate agent in Raleigh by Midtown Magazine and #1 in all of Wake County by the Indy Weekly. And I think I saw on Instagram, Angie, you've also now been voted #1 by a third organization. Is that right?
Yeah, so that was by Property Shark, where we were voted #1 in Durham for social media. Is that the...
That's the one I'm thinking.
Yeah. We actually, earlier this year, we were voted #1 by social media in Wake County by them, and now we've been voted #1 in Durham County as well, which is neat because it really goes to show how much we truly utilize social media when it comes to marketing and, getting homes sold for our sellers, and it works because other people are noticing how active we are on social media.
I've noticed when you post from different places around the Triangle where, homes that you're listing and then homes that your buyers are buying, there's been a lot of activity, it seems, in Durham. I don't know if the numbers actually bear out that you've been selling and buying more in Durham, but it seems like you guys have been really present there as well as in Wake County.
We really are. I would say probably about 50-50.
Okay.
Although our office is located in Wake County, we cover a lot of Durham. And of course, we get, people coming back to us as far as past clients. We get referrals from past clients. So we've really just spread into the Durham market a whole bunch.
Pretty cool. If you want to get in touch with Angie Cole at any point in time to talk about buying or selling your home, that number is 919-538-6477. And you can call or text Angie, talk to her about buying or selling your home, work with that #1 real estate team here in the Triangle as voted on by a couple of different organizations this year. 919-538-6477. All right, as I mentioned, time for the Neighborhood Spotlight. Angie, where are you taking us this week?
So I am taking you to Cary, to the estates at Young Landing, and that was actually our listing of the week, where we have a home for sale in this neighborhood. But a little bit about the estates at Young Landing. So first of all, to get there, you will take exit 291 towards Cary, merge onto Carytown Boulevard, a left onto Southeast Maynard Road, a left onto Apex Road, and then a right onto Young Landing Court. I know that was a lot of directions. Hopefully you wrote that down really quick.
Left, right.
I know. But great location and nearby to the shopping center, to, Cary Town Center, which is wonderful, Crossroads area. This is a brand new neighborhood. They started building in 2016. It's built by Pulte Homes. They are still actively building in the neighborhood, and there's currently 6 active homes left that are available for sale. These are detached homes. They do have different styles. They have the ranch floor plans. They have the 2 stories. There's 2-car garages, 3-car garages, anywhere from 3-bedroom up to 5-bedroom. Square footage ranges from 2,400 square feet up to about 5,000 square feet. And our price range is from around $470 up to $805. So actually the highest price home in the neighborhood sold just over $800,000. So once again, they have a good range of products and price points within the estates at Young Landing.
That's a really pretty area of the Triangle as well.
It is. I agree with you.
That portion of Cary, you're just you're near all the cool stuff of Cary, but a little bit out from it to where you can kind of easily, if you want to go toward the Apex direction, you can. If you want to go to Morrisville, you've got easy access to all those different directions.
Kind of centralized.
Yeah, but yet it's not packed in like a downtown would be.
Right. A lot of those lots out there, they sit on right at almost a quarter of an acre. So, that's a decent sized lot in the Cary area.
Yeah, it is. Pretty area. That, again, is the estates at Young Landing. Pulte Homes in that area as the home that is the listing of the week, a Pulte home, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very nice location. Angie, if people want to get more information about maybe living there, moving there, or maybe they do live there now and they're looking to sell their home, trying to kind of take advantage of the high market that we're in right now, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, I would say, honestly, just give me a call directly. You can call our Google kind of office number, and that number is 919-578-3128. From there, we can answer any questions you might have. We can help you out with your home search. If you're looking to sell, we would love to schedule a listing presentation, but you can always reach someone on that number. So once again, it's 919-578-3128. Also, you can directly call me. My cell phone is 919-538-6477, where you can text me as well. I love receiving text messages.
Very cool. That very easy to do. All right, Angie, we appreciate that, and we've got a lot more to get to here on today's show. Let's take a quick breath, and we'll come back with more here on the Savvy Realtor with Angie Cole of A. Cole Realty, serving you throughout the Triangle.
Did you know that Wake County grows on average by 64 people per day? That's a lot of homes being bought and sold. If you're planning to join the moving madness, you better listen up to the Savvy Realtor.
Time to answer more of your questions on today's edition of the Savvy Realtor with Angie Cole. I'm Walter Storholt. Thanks so much for being here. If you want to reach Angie, you can find her online at acolerealty.com. Cole is spelled C-O-L-E, by the way, so that's acolerealty.com. Or you can call or text Angie directly. It's a 919 area code 538-6477. Easy to remember that number. And again, you can call or just shoot Angie a text and start a conversation that way. 919-538-6477. Clara in Nightdale has our next question on the program. Clara says, there's a home we are thinking of buying, Angie. It's been on the market for 3 weeks, so it obviously hasn't gotten a ton of traction. I want to make sure that we give a really low offer just to see what happens. My husband, though, thinks it's a bad idea, but I really don't see what we would lose. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? They say no. That's no biggie, and we can always make another offer, right?
Not necessarily. You're right, Clara. I mean, they could just say no, and then you do not get the home. But if they end up rejecting your offer, if you then come back to make a second offer, I can only foresee that the sellers probably are more than likely offended already by your initial offer, and they might not be negotiable at all. So you could actually end up hurting yourself and not get the best deal or the lowest price, because you are almost playing games in the beginning and not giving a realistic offer, so I would not suggest doing that. I would make an offer based on comparables, start off a little bit lower than that, with what's fair. It is, of course, your job to get the lowest price and the seller's job to get the highest price for their home. But making an insulting offer is not going to help you, because once again, a second offer, you can make that second offer. Sellers can decide decide just to reject your offer again, because it can also make them feel that you're going to be difficult to work with throughout the process.
Yeah.
So not only are you trying to nickel and dime them in the beginning, but then when it comes to, inspections and negotiations, are you going to just nitpick every little item, or are you going to be reasonable to work with? So I do not feel or, think in my, expertise advice that making just a lowball offer to test it out is a smart choice or decision for you. And also, being on the market for 3 weeks is not a long time.
Yeah.
I know a lot of buyers and sellers, when they see a home that's been on the market for 3 weeks, they, freak out. What's wrong with that? With this, strong market we're in? But depending on location and price point, 3 weeks is not a long time.
Right. Yeah. The house might be great. It just appeals to a smaller pool of buyers.
Maybe.
Could be the reason.
Yeah, I know one of my buyer specialists, showed me an MLS listing yesterday, and she said, Angie, what's wrong with this home? It's been on the market for this amount of time. And first thing I noticed, the location, the home was in North Raleigh. It was an older home, although not old. They were competing with brand new construction at that price point. And then it was also a multi-generational home. It had a completely separate detached home that went along with this home with a, kitchen, living room.
Gotcha.
And, that's going to appeal to only a certain amount of buyers.
It seems like it would be attractive to everybody, but for some, they look at that and go, oh, too much maintenance.
Well, I know my family, we do not need a multi-generational home because we don't have, family or someone else living with us. So that extra space wouldn't be of use. So, it really depends on the home as far as, days on the market. And, it could be that it's overpriced is why it's sitting there. But a lot of times that's not necessarily the issue.
Yeah, that's a great point. And also, don't forget that emotions are involved in the scenario, Clara. So you may be approaching it from a strictly business point of view, but emotions are a big factor. As someone who's selling their home right now, I know I keep saying that a lot on today's show, but it's just so true. Just getting simple feedback like there's not a door connecting the kitchen to the backyard, and that's why the sellers don't want the home. Well, the home buyer on the other end's like, well, forget you,
Oh, wait, flip it. You just, hold on. The buyers don't want the home, so the sellers are like, forget you.
Mix
up the two.
Sorry, yeah.
No, I got what you're
seller's seeing
saying.
your feedback, the buyer's feedback from like just viewing a home, let alone an offer.
Yeah.
And, and we get emotional about it.
Well, that home is kind of like your baby.
Sure,
unless it's an investment property where then to the seller it's all of a numbers game. When it's a primary residence, you've lived in that home. You've made memories. Yeah. You've probably put a lot of, blood and sweat into, just perfecting that home. And so when you get a negative comment, it hits home, right?
Yeah.
It does.
It hits you in the stomach. So keep that in mind that, sellers will get emotional in many cases. And so that risk of insulting them with a really low offer like you're talking about is there. So be aware of that.
So if you're thinking about buying a home, we have a wonderful guide that we can send your way, which goes through the process and the steps from the very beginning when we need to make sure, first of all, you're connected with an agent, but then connected with a lender, talk about your housing search. We send you properties, and then the contract to close process. So we would love to send to you our buying guide, and to receive a copy of that, you can text the word contract to the phone number 555-888. So once again, if you are buying a home, it's also great for selling a home too, to understand just the process and all the terminology that goes along with buying or selling a home. But to receive a copy of our home buying guide, just text the word contract to the phone number 555-888.
Great first step for a lot of buyers and even sellers to take as well. All you have to do is text that word contract to the number 555-888. Again, text the word contract to 555-888. We'll send back to you a text with a link that you can click on to download that buying guide right there on your smartphone. Just text the word contract to the number 555-888 to get this home buying guide. Well, Angie, we're out of time on this week's program, but as always, a big thank you for joining us, and we'll look forward to another great conversation with you next week.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Enjoy your week, and thank you so much for tuning into the program today. One more time, a quick reminder, if you want to reach out to Angie Cole and her team, you can call or text if you're thinking about buying or selling here in the Triangle. 919-538-6477 is the number. Call or text Angie there to start the conversation. 919-538-6477. And you can also find Angie online at acolerealty.com. That's acolerealty.com. realty.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time on the Savvy Realtor.